keen on hearing Sudia's presentation. I was just reading her introduction and bio, learning that she has an incredibly interesting background. For me, it is very interesting if somebody has studied anthropology and Romance languages in her bachelor and then did her PhD in multicultural and international education at the University of San Francisco. Being from a very multicultural rainbow nation, I always appreciate people who understand multiculturalism. One of the key things that stand out for me in Sudia's bio is that she's involved in creating an accredited primary and secondary school bilingual teacher education master's program in critical environmental and global literacy programs at the New College in California and San Francisco, where she directed and taught literacy and English language development, multicultural education, participatory action research, environmental education for the past 15 years. She's also very well known across the world and has extended to communities and school educators in Guatemala, Mexico, Romania, Hungary, Cuba, and El Salvador. At present time, her work focuses on building collaborative relationships between Bay Area educators and beyond, and indigenous communities in Oaxaca, Oaxaca in Mexico. So thank you very much, Sudia. We are looking forward to your presentation this evening, which deals with how teachers can help students and families cope with disaster this current time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Glad to be here with my granddaughter, Samara, who will be working with me together today.
Welcome, Samara. You're very welcome.
And I wanted to say that I am no longer at New College of California in San Francisco because New College closed a number of years ago. But I am now at the same college as Brian Gerard in Berkeley, called the Western Institute for Social Research. And I'm the chair of doctoral studies in education for social change and the master's degree in educational leadership. And I also have an international project called the Center for Critical Environmental and Global Literacy. And that's where we are doing the international work a lot with indigenous educators or in communities which are somehow on the margins of society and are not comfortable with the national education systems. And at the present time, our project has been for the last 13 years with indigenous educators and communities and teachers and principals in the state of Oaxaca, O-A-X-A-C-A.
Oaxaca, I will give it right now.
That's fine. Everyone has problems pronouncing it if they haven't heard it before. And Brian asked me to just hold up the book that I wrote, which is a lot of my experience. This was a doctoral thesis that was turned into a book, and it's called Building Communities of Learners, a collaboration among teachers, students, families, and communities. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with Samara. And what we're going to do is look at ways that we can nurture children, both as teachers, as schools in general, during times of crisis and disaster. And we're going to start off, well, we're going to look at music and singing. And of course, not every teacher or school psychologist plays the guitar. We can always learn, you know, you can do almost everything on the guitar with 3 major chords and 2 minor chords. We're doing May the Rose Be Scented. And so we're going to start, and we want to sing songs that we feel, not yet, that's next, that are nurturing for children. This, may there always be sunshine, may there always be blue skies, may there always be Samara, may there always be us, Now we sing to your new baby sister. Her name is Maya. May there always be sunshine. May there always be blue skies. May there always be Maya. May there always be us. Who should we sing to now? Your grandpa?
Yeah.
Gregorio or Bobo? Gregorio. We'll sing this one in Spanish. Que siempre haya sol, que siempre haya cielo, que siempre haya Gregorio, que siempre haya nosotros. And I'll just, as a note, tell you that this song was, the words were written as part of a poem by a child in Russia many years ago, and Pete Seeger, the wonderful folk singer and an activist, took the words from this child and turned it into this song. When I asked Samara, what other song makes you feel really good, makes you feel really happy? She said it's the rainbow song. So let's see your rainbow, Samara. Yeah, sure. Just like a beautiful rainbow, smiling at skies that are gray. Moved over. Kind of girls and our boys bearing food, sharing joy. Sing with me. With the children in lands far away, I see in that beautiful rainbow the flags of all nations unfurled. I hear song and mirth, I see peace on earth in that wonderful, beautiful, marvelous, glorious rainbow around the world. Thank you, Samara. Can you tell everybody how we did it in your first and your kindergarten, your first and your second grade classroom? What did we do?
So everybody had a piece of colored paper, and when we said rainbow around the world, they are like hold it up in the air.
So we showed a rainbow. Great. Okay. So
The book? The book?
we will share put this down so
I
it's
am-
full. And some other songs later.
Did you print them out?
Yes. But we wanted to share some books that make children feel good, make them feel loved. And
Did you put them together?
yes, no. And so Samara will be reading a story that she chose called I Am Love. And I will hold up, you can put it down and read it because it's easier. And I'll hold up, this is the name of the book, I Am Love, a book of compassion. Okay, speak loudly, Samara, okay?
Okay. Not that one.
Yeah, this is the first page, when?
Oh. When I see someone going through a storm.
Is she speaking loud enough? Do a little louder.
Of hurt and unfairness, of anger and sadness.
Wait a minute, I forgot that page.
When the sun disappears and the skies grow dark, and I see there's fear.
Wait, we gotta get it up. And I see. Okay. Yes.
I ask myself, what can I do to let the light back in?
Let me show this page.
I put my hand on my heart and listen, and that is where I find the answer.
Speak louder, speak louder.
I have compassion. I act with tenderness. I am love. I can
Wait.
I can listen and not say a word. I can be there. Love is being present. I can hug and hold and say everything will be all right. Love is comfort. I can speak softly and choose my words and actions carefully. Love is gentle. I can give thanks for all I have and am able to share. Love is gratitude. I can keep my mind and body safe and healthy. Love is taking care of me. I can express what's important to me. Love is creative. I can know that no one is perfect. Love is understanding. I can do my best to make things better when something is wrong. Love is effort. I can celebrate those I've loved before. Love is remembering.
Who do you remember? Okay. You never met them, so it's okay. What?
The dog, Marley.
Oh, your friend's dog, Marley. Okay.
Oh my God. I can find goodness in a kind word, a helping hand, or a shared smile. Love is tiny gestures. I can breathe in the air that the whole world shares and know all creators are made from the very same stardust. Love is connection.
All creatures.
All creatures.
Great.
When the clouds roll in for others and for me, I know now there is something I can do. I can let my heart lead the way. I am love. You are love. We are love. And with love, we will weather the storm and light up the sky together.
Okay, so that was a book that Samantha chose, and I believe she heard it from a teacher at her school who is a yoga and meditation teacher at a public school in Oakland, California. So
am I going to read it?
No, we're not reading it. The next book I want to share, though, we won't read it, I just want to tell you about it. It's called Stella Luna, and Stella Luna is really a story about friendship and love across diversity. And the diversity is that the main characters are a bat and a bird. And the bat is flying with its mother and it gets lost, it drops. The mother loses the baby bat and the bat falls until it lands in a bird's nest on a tree. And of course, all the birds are surprised because they never saw a bird that looked quite like this. They also were surprised because this bird hung by its toes, and they don't do that. And of course, Stella Luna, her name, was getting very hungry. And she was used to eating fruit and berries that her mother would get on trees. But the birds were waiting for their mother to bring food, and they were eating insects and worms, which Stella Luna found really horrible. But she was so hungry that she, had to learn to eat like a bird. Anyway, they got to be really good friends, and they taught each other, they loved each other, until Stella Luna's mother rescued her and found her. And she went back to live with the bats. But the birds and the bats wanted to keep contact, and they loved each other, and they visited each other's habitats, shall we say. So I just see it as an amazing story of diversity and learning to be friends and love across differences in cultures. So that was one book. Hey, Anna. The other book is another book about love, and it's called—
Can I read the part?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's called I Love You Forever. And what does the little it's across generations. It starts with a mother rocking her baby every night and saying the same thing.
I love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby will be.
And so she continues to say that when the baby gets bigger and is a toddler, and says it when the little boy gets to be a very mischievous little boy or is growing up into middle school. But she still, every night, lifts the baby up and puts it in her lap and sings to it. Even to the point where her boy really grows up and starts singing crazy songs, making noise in the house. In the end, the boy moves out and the mother misses him so much that she gets a ladder, climbs in his window in the middle of the night, picks up her baby, who's no longer a baby, as you can see, and starts rocking him and singing to him again. And then the boy has a baby and sings the same thing to his baby. But then the mother grows old and can no longer walk. And the little boy, who's now a man, comes back to see his mother and sings to her.
I love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be.
And this is the last picture of the son picking up his mother and singing the same thing. So there are.
And wait, let's show when he has a baby.
So there are family traditions that are remembered forever, remembered with love, and things that children want to carry on and do with their own families. And this is the man with his own baby. So I wanted to show that. There are lots of books that you can read that are very comforting, that express love, express caring,
This is next,
and
right?
and make children feel safer. And yes, and I'm sure you know of other books that can do the same. The next thing we're going to share, there's something that we work with actually internationally. We call them dichos.
Did you finish? Did you make the lemonade?
I did. I changed the spelling. They're called dichos or proverbs, and they're really good for dialogue with children. What do they mean? So Samara, and we always also try and illustrate them. So Samara found one that she really likes. Why don't you read it and say what it is? Stop doing that. If
lemons fall on your head from a tree, if lemons fall on your head from a tree, then learn to make lemonade.
Okay, let's hold it up. So it's sort of turning an incident that may be uncomfortable, like some kind of disaster, although this is hardly a disaster, but what can we learn from it? So this is Samara's drawing of when the lemons fall from a tree, learn to make lemonade. There was another one we were talking about, maybe you could say what it means. And we heard this a lot in our work in both Oaxaca and El Salvador.
If the flies don't,
if you keep your
mouth shut, then the flies won't come in.
You keep your mouth shut, the flies won't come in. And what does that mean?
It means like, it's like somebody saying like, shut your mouth, but they mean, but you need to talk,
Because kids often have a lot to say, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So those are just some of the proverbs we use. There are many more. And a lot of times we use them to discuss what they mean, if they're proverbs that we want to keep and teach the next generation of children or use in our classrooms. We've used a lot in our classrooms. Or are they things that we just think are not valid anymore? They're either hurtful or they silence people and we don't want to learn them anymore. One that I guess most of us heard or grew up with was an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So what does that mean? Means if you eat an apple a day, you'll stay healthy.
And you won't be able to go to the doctor.
And you won't have to go to the doctor.
Every day.
Every day. I remember I heard one always from my father, and he said, don't wear your heart on your sleeve. I think, okay, what did that mean? He meant don't show your emotions too much because you can get hurt. And so we talk about that one a lot also. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to say is play is really important in children's lives. And we use blocks a lot. We have, you can't do it. She's going to show a picture of it. We use blocks a lot. We add little people and animals. We try to do this. And then we also use these things, the buildings that we create to tell stories. So Sheena, if you could put up the picture, we could look at that. This is a picture on a tray of some trees, trains and cars, a few people, a boat. And let's hear what you wrote. And then somebody wrote a story about it. There's your story.
It's terrible.
Oh.
It has
Okay.
You read it. You read it.
No, you read it.
No, you read it.
Okay, she wants me to read it, so I will. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a family that protected the forest. One person from the family had magical powers to protect the forest. She could control the forest, and her family helped her to protect the forest, even if they didn't have her powers. One day, there was a person who wanted to cut down all the trees and make it into a city. So the people that were the protectives of the forest needed to stop her, and they did. Well, one day a visitor came. Let's see who the visitor was. And the visitor was a cuddly seal. And they decided to keep it. But her mom said to the person who has magical powers, which was her daughter, that whoever comes here and says the seal is theirs, we should hand the seal over, except if it is the bad person who tried to burn down the forest. Well, one day, the bad person disguised themselves into a different person, and she went, it's okay, leave it there. The bad person disguised themselves into a different person, and she went to their town and pretended that she was a person who had come all the way from the Arctic and had lost from the Arctic Sea and had lost her baby seal. The people there did not know that it was the bad person who tried to burn down the forest. Oh, you found my precious seal. It has been a long journey. Could someone please take us home? The mom said that her daughter, the person with the magical powers, would take her home with the seal. Nobody knows what happened after that. The end. Come back. Okay. You can take off the picture. Thank you, Sheena. So the idea was just that when stressful times, give children things to play with, give them the opportunity to create and to tell stories about what they have created. I did this once at a school where we had a large block area, and the kids built with it. And what we did was we'd have a journal for the kids to measure all the parts of their building, to write a story about it, and then to take a photograph of the building and the kids who were involved in the building. And then they would bring the journal home with the photograph to share with their parents. And we would ask the parents to write a response to what they thought about their children's building. And so it was a very interesting way of collaborating with the parents, for the parents to see what was going on at school, to have some insight into the thinking of their kids, and also to make the connection with the classroom teacher and the school. So we're going to end by singing one more song. And this song is probably familiar to many of you. It's a song that was written by John Lennon of the Beatles, and it's called Imagine. And we think that we need to all have an imagination these days to create the kind of world that we want. Actually, what does your shirt say? It says, make the world a better place. And we changed it a little bit to make it about we and us. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only skies. Imagine all the people singing, living for today. You may say that we are dreamers, but we're not the only ones. We hope someday that you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine there's no countries. It is hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that we are dreamers, but we're not the only ones. We hope someday that you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man and woman. Imagine all the people sharing all the world, including the vaccines. You may say that we are dreamers, but we're not the only ones. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. And just to close, I would like to say that I think imagination and working for a better world and working to save the planet that we have is really important. And I think that young people feel much more secure, less tense, less anxious when they feel that the adults around them are working for the better world, are doing things. It could mean that they're coming into the schools and helping other parents to do projects together with the school, with the community. It could mean that they're working with an environmental education that's working to eliminate fossil fuels and transition to a green economy. It could mean that they're on a march with Black Lives Matter, demanding equal rights, equal justice against racism. It could mean that they're visiting their congressman and senator's office and either sharing ideas, telling what the community needs, or maybe demanding something. Anyway, we found that when kids know their parents are involved, when they involve them, like on climate marches or marches for on Martin Luther King's birthday, that they feel that the world is going to be a better place and that they can feel hopeful.
Thank you very much, Sudia, and you stayed nicely within the time. And I agree very much with the idea that if parents and their children create relationships that are positive, it is easier for everybody. And I feel almost as though over this 4 days of our conference, of our symposium, we have really looked at this relationship building every step of the way, whether it is relationship between parents and children, relationship between children and children, and relationships between parents and school and the school, the triadic relationship that is so important from a school-based family counseling perspective, and getting involved. I was actually hoping that you would sing us that very first song again, and we're all going to unmute ourselves and sing together. The very first one that you sang, because it's easy to pick up. Remember the first song? Smile, will you sing with us?
May there always be sunshine.
All again.
You want to sing it again, to hear it again? Okay.
Yes, the very first song, and everybody has to unmute. Unmute yourselves and sing together.
Okay.
Come on.
May there always be sunshine. May there always be blue skies. May there always be, and you can put whatever name you want in there. Actually, during the presidential, what shall we call it? Initials, when there were 10 Democrats running for office, a lot of us were rooting for
just sing Sudia in here today. Come, let's all sing together.
May there always be sunshine. May there always be skies. May there always be smile. May there always be us. May there always be sunshine. Always be blue skies.
Always be us. Thank you very much. Now let us open the floor to some discussion. I had my say now. Anybody who wants to ask a question or make a comment, there I have Rita. Rita, you can unmute yourself.
Well, I just had to say thank you to the both of you guys. I appreciate you guys sharing the book, I Am Loved. I actually heard it last year. My daughter read it in her kindergarten class, and she made me buy the book later on. So it was a great book for children. I do appreciate that you shared your personal interest with playing the guitar into how you transition with children. I think we all have something unique about us that we all want to share with everybody, and that brings us much closer. So I have to say thank you to that. And I was wondering if you could please share the book you talked about in the beginning in the chat, because I wasn't able to write the name down.
You mean my book?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's called Building Communities of Learners, a collaboration among teachers, students, families, and community. And you'll find it online, and order it directly from the publisher, and don't order it from Amazon.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
He has enough money. He doesn't need yours.
Thank you very much. Anybody else with a question or a comment? I was, since I don't have any other hands at the moment, I was wondering whether in your activities that you do with the children, when we're not in lockdown and isolation, whether you bring the parents and the children together to get the parents to share their special song or their special interests. Because I used to work with—
Who's talking? I can't see who's talking.
It's Hatina who's talking.
Okay, yes.
Definitely.
Definitely.
And I used to work with the collage life story elicitation technique, at least I developed it, and where you can make a collage together and then share your stories around that to bring the family together. And to learn about each other, and to also learn sometimes about where there is barriers or blockades in the relationship. And I was wondering how that would fit into even with children, just children amongst themselves.
Yes. Well, let me just say, when we had our teacher education, our teacher training program, although we don't use the word training because we say training's for dogs, not for teachers. We had what we called our family literacy program. Once a month at our site, families were invited. Sometimes we had up to, 60 or 70 families. And the teachers were required to, we served lunch, and the teachers were required to each cook something to bring, because we wanted them to really practice how to invite, how to collaborate with families, and also how to do it over eating together. And so it was a really important piece. And as you'll see in my book, there's lots of activities where children and parents and schools work together, whether it be in looking at their own histories, how they learn to read and write, what were important memories of their childhood, what kind of advice, if they had to go on a long trip, what kind of advice would they give to their children? So yes, there's lots of ways to bring in parent thoughts into the classroom and work with them. And it could also be around proverbs. When you were growing, what was something you heard an elder say to you all the time that you didn't forget, but in some way it was kind of like a lesson to live by?
Good, great. Anybody else with a comment or a question? Yes, Kathy, please.
This is just a quick comment. I thank you so much for your bibliotherapy lesson today. And just to tell you that I love you forever. My Baby You'll Be is a very favorite book in my family, and my grandchildren are now reading it. And I read it to them when I'm with them or on Zoom. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You made my day.
Oh, thank you, but you liked it.
Okay. Anybody else?
And I just wanted to introduce right over here, you can see him, Alex, who's Samada's dad.
Hi.
I don't see Rebecca. And over there is Lucia, who is Samada's mom. And there's the new baby, Maya. And she's my daughter too. And then where's Rebecca? Samada, I don't see Rebecca. Is Rebecca there? Are you there?
She's not on.
Rebecca actually gifted that book to Samada. She was the gifter of that book, I Am Love.
Oh, good.